Hello and welcome to Deep Dive from SmartBookWorms, where we dive deep into recently released books from authors you love to read. My name is Amanda, your virtual book guru host. In today's episode, we'll be diving deep into a deep dive for To Die For by David Baldacci. From the #1 New York Times best-selling author, the 620 man returns, this time sent to the Pacific Northwest to aid in a complicated FBI case, and he's about to come face to face with his nemesis, the girl on the train. Today I'm accompanied by my co-presenter, fellow virtual book guru, Megan. So let's dive deep into today's deep dive, David Baldacci's To Die For.
Part 1, To Die For, a summary of the book. Travis Devine, a former Army officer working for Homeland Security, finds himself caught in a web of conspiracies and danger while investigating the death of his friend Danny Glass's sister and brother-in-law. Devine is initially tasked with providing security for Glass's niece, Betsy Odom, a 12-year-old girl who witnessed her parents' deaths. The FBI believes that the parents died of drug overdoses, but Betsy insists they were murdered. Devine's investigation leads him to the small town of Ricketts, where he encounters a suspicious police chief and a mysterious mayor. He soon discovers that the Odoms were poisoned with cyanide, likely at the local restaurant. The mystery deepens as Devine uncovers connections to a larger plot involving Glass's criminal associates and a dangerous extremist group called the Termites. Devine learns that Glass had been working as an informant for the government, providing information about the Termites in exchange for leniency in his own RICO case. The Termites discover Glass's betrayal and target him and Betsy for revenge. Devine also encounters Prue Jackson, a skilled assassin who has her own reasons for seeking revenge against Mercedes King, the mayor of Ricketts, and a key figure in the conspiracy. The situation becomes even more complicated when Devine discovers that Betsy Odom is not actually related to Danny Glass. Devine uncovers evidence that Glass's sister was adopted, and that Dwayne Odom was infertile, making Betsy's parentage a mystery. He suspects that Perry Rollins, a man who had approached him with information about Glass, may have known the truth about Betsy's origins. With Betsy's life in danger, Devine must race against time to uncover the truth and protect her from those who seek to harm her. Devine and Jackson team up to rescue Betsy from the Termites' clutches. They uncover evidence that Mercedes King has been manipulating both Glass and the Termites for her own gain. King attempts to flee with Glass, but her plans are thwarted by Jackson, who kills her in an explosion. In the end, Glass's RICO charges are dropped and he gains custody of Betsy. Devine returns to his work at Homeland Security, forever changed by the experience.
Part 2, Book Details. This book is about an orphaned girl named Betsy Odom, whose uncle Danny Glass is trying to adopt her. However, there are some concerns about Glass's intentions, as he is facing a federal RICO prosecution. The main character, Travis Devine, is an agent with Homeland Security, and it seems that he has a military background, having attended West Point and fought in Iraq. The setting of the story includes Seattle, Washington, where Glass's trial is taking place, and Ricketts, a town in Asotin County where Odom's parents died. A major plot point is the death of Betsy's parents, which is officially ruled as a drug overdose. However, Devine suspects foul play and investigates further, uncovering evidence that suggests they may have been poisoned. There are several other characters involved in the story. Agent Saxby is an FBI agent who is working on the case against Glass and is initially tasked with overseeing Betsy. Corey Rose and Nate Shaw are friends of Odom's parents and seem to be involved in some way with the events surrounding their deaths. Perry Rollins is a mysterious figure who tries to sell information about Glass to Devine, but is later found dead. The book explores themes of corruption, conspiracy, and the lengths to which people will go to protect their loved ones.
Part 3. Character Interactions. The book provides a glimpse into the complex web of relationships and interactions among the characters in David Baldacci's To Die For. Here's a closer look. Travis Devine's interactions. Travis Devine and Betsy Odom. Devine, a Homeland Security agent, develops a strong, protective bond with Betsy Odom, a 12-year-old girl who lost her parents and whose uncle, Danny Glass, wants to adopt her. Despite her initial distrust and rebellious nature, Betsy warms up to Devine as he shows genuine concern for her well-being and listens to her concerns. He patiently navigates her emotional outbursts and defenses, understanding the trauma she's endured. As the story progresses, their relationship deepens, with Betsy confiding in Devine about her fears and uncertainties. Devine eventually becomes Betsy's guardian, vowing to protect her and uncover the truth about her parents' deaths. Travis Devine and Danny Glass. Devine's relationship with Danny Glass, Betsy's uncle, is characterized by suspicion and tension. Having served together in Iraq, Devine is aware of Glass's ruthless nature and criminal background. Their interactions are marked by a palpable undercurrent of hostility, with Glass attempting to leverage their shared past to influence Devine. Despite his reservations, Devine acknowledges Glass's genuine affection for Betsy. This dynamic is further complicated by the revelation that the government is working with Glass, dropping the RICO charges against him in exchange for his cooperation in a larger investigation. This leads to confrontations and a power struggle between the two men as Devine questions Glass's motives and the government's involvement. Travis Devine and Agent Saxby. Devine's interactions with Agent Saxby, the FBI agent initially assigned to Betsy, are initially cooperative, but become increasingly strained as Devine uncovers more information about the case. He finds Saxby's methods and attitude towards Betsy abrasive and insensitive. Their differences in approach and opinion lead to clashes, with Devine questioning Saxby's jurisdiction and challenging her dismissive attitude towards the investigation of the Odom's deaths. The relationship takes a sharp turn when Devine discovers the FBI's true intentions: to use Betsy as bait to secure Glass's cooperation against a dangerous organization. This revelation leads to a heated confrontation, with Devine accusing Saxby of manipulating him and endangering Betsy's life. Travis Devine and Corey Rose and Nate Shore. Devine's interactions with Corey Rose and Nate Shore, friends of Betsy's parents, are initially marked by caution as he investigates their potential involvement in the Odom's deaths. However, as he gains their trust and Betsy vouches for their character, Devine recognizes them as valuable allies in his quest to protect Betsy and uncover the truth. He relies on their knowledge of the Odoms and their observations to piece together the events leading up to the deaths. This alliance strengthens as Devine entrusts them with Betsy's safety and relies on their support. Other key interactions: Betsy Odom and Danny Glass. While their initial meeting is cordial, Betsy remains uncertain about her feelings towards her uncle, questioning his motives and past actions. Glass demonstrates a genuine desire to connect with his niece, expressing concern for her welfare and sharing memories of her mother. This complex dynamic underscores Betsy's internal struggle as she grapples with the conflicting information she receives about her uncle. Betsy Odom and Agent Saxby. Betsy's relationship with Agent Saxby is fraught with tension and resentment. She finds Saxby overbearing, insensitive, and dismissive of her feelings. This leads to several confrontations, with Betsy challenging Saxby's authority and expressing her desire to be left alone. The dynamic highlights Betsy's fierce independence and her struggle to cope with the loss of her parents and the intrusion of strangers into her life.
Part 4. The Complex Crime Investigation. The book details a multifaceted crime investigation that unfolds within the narrative of David Baldacci's To Die For. The investigation centers around several interconnected events, primarily the suspicious deaths of Dwayne and Alice Odom, the parents of Betsy Odom. The official ruling is a drug overdose, but various inconsistencies and suspicious circumstances lead Travis Devine, a Homeland Security agent, to suspect foul play. Key elements of the investigation: the deaths of Dwayne and Alice Odom. This is the primary crime under investigation. Initial reports suggest a drug overdose, but Devine discovers evidence that contradicts this conclusion, including eyewitness accounts from Betsy Odom and friends of her parents who claim they never used drugs. He finds further support for his suspicions from Dr. Coburn, the medical examiner who performed the autopsies, who reveals that the Odom's bodies exhibited signs of cyanide poisoning, potentially administered through a sophisticated method using DMSO. Dr. Coburn's death shortly after this revelation further deepens the mystery and reinforces the possibility of a cover-up. The murder of Perry Rollins. Rollins is a low-level criminal who approaches Devine, offering to sell him incriminating information about Danny Glass, Betsy's uncle. Soon after, Rollins is murdered in a bar bathroom. This murder is investigated by Detective Braddock of the Seattle PD, who collaborates with Devine despite their differing jurisdictions. The connection between Rollins's murder and the Odom's deaths remains unclear, but Devine theorizes that Rollins might have possessed information linking Glass to the Odom's deaths or a larger conspiracy. The role of Danny Glass. Glass is a wealthy businessman and former military associate of Devine, facing a federal RICO prosecution. He is seeking to adopt his niece, Betsy, following the death of her parents. Devine initially suspects Glass's involvement in the Odom's deaths, particularly as their deaths pave the way for his guardianship of Betsy. However, the story reveals a more complex situation, with Glass ultimately cooperating with the government to bring down a dangerous organization known as 12 to 2465, a modern incarnation of the KKK. The involvement of 12 to 2465. This organization emerges as a significant force in the investigation as it becomes evident they are involved in a complex plot to destabilize and potentially overthrow the US government. Their influence extends to various sectors of society, including law enforcement, politics, and the media. This revelation complicates the investigation as Devine uncovers links between 12/24/65 and the events surrounding the Odom's deaths, Rollins's murder, and potentially even the deaths of the witnesses in Glass's RICO case. The question of Ricketts, the small town of Ricketts, where the Odoms died, is also a focus of the investigation. Devine's initial suspicions are raised by the town's unusually advanced police equipment and lavish government building, seemingly beyond the means of a small town. Later, through his investigation and the confession of Madeline Trumbull, a member of 12/24/65 posing as Doris Chandler, he discovers that Ricketts is essentially a covert operation run by the CIA, likely serving as a strategic outpost for domestic intelligence gathering. This revelation suggests a potential CIA connection to the Odom's deaths, which is further explored in later interactions with CIA officers Chambers and Davenport. Key investigative actions. Witness interviews. Devine conducts numerous interviews, including with Betsy Odom, Corey Rose, Nate Shaw, and various individuals connected to the Odoms and Danny Glass. He carefully analyzes their statements, noting inconsistencies and searching for clues. Forensic evidence. Devine seeks access to forensic evidence from the Odom's deaths, the Rollins murder investigation, and the attack on him in Ricketts. He scrutinizes autopsy reports, ballistics data, and security footage, working alongside Detective Braddock and forensic specialist Beth Walker to piece together the puzzle. Collaboration with law enforcement. Despite jurisdictional complexities, Devine collaborates with Detective Braddock of the Seattle PD and Agent Saxby of the FBI. This cooperation is strained at times due to conflicting priorities and hidden agendas, but ultimately proves essential to advancing the investigation. Uncovering hidden agendas. Devine's investigation gradually reveals hidden agendas and power struggles within various government agencies, including the FBI and CIA. He encounters obstruction, manipulation, and a willingness to sacrifice individual lives for a perceived greater good. This exploration of government corruption adds another layer of complexity to the case. Challenges to the investigation. Conflicting information and cover-ups. Devine constantly encounters conflicting information, misleading reports, and deliberate attempts to conceal the truth. This obfuscation creates a challenging environment for his investigation and forces him to question the motivations and actions of individuals and organizations that should be on his side. Jurisdictional boundaries. The investigation spans multiple jurisdictions, leading to complications and conflicts between local and federal law enforcement agencies. This bureaucratic maze hinders information sharing and cooperation, requiring Devine to navigate a delicate balance between maintaining professional relationships and pursuing the truth. High-level conspiracies. The involvement of a powerful organization like 12-24-65, with its vast resources and influence, poses a significant challenge to the investigation. Devine faces threats, violence, and attempts to silence witnesses, putting his own life in danger as he tries to expose the truth. Government involvement. The government's willingness to work with a known criminal like Glass in exchange for information raises ethical questions and creates a conflict of interest for Devine, a government agent himself. The revelation of potential CIA involvement in the Odom's deaths further complicates the investigation and blurs the lines between law enforcement and national security.
Part 5. The Intricacies of Government Conspiracy. The book depicts a complex and unsettling narrative of government conspiracy that intertwines with a criminal investigation, raising questions about the motivations and actions of those in power. Evidence of government involvement in criminal activity. The dismissal of Danny Glass's RICO case. This event is a key indicator of potential government manipulation. While the official explanation cites the loss of key witnesses, Devine uncovers information suggesting a deliberate intervention from high-ranking government officials. This suggests a quid pro quo arrangement with Glass, raising questions about the nature of the information he possesses and the lengths to which the government is willing to go to secure his cooperation. The mysterious circumstances surrounding the Odom's deaths, the inconsistencies in the official report, the medical examiner's findings suggesting cyanide poisoning, and the subsequent death of Dr. Coburn all point to a possible cover-up. This, coupled with the revelation of Ricketts's status as a covert CIA outpost, strongly suggests government involvement in the Odom's deaths, potentially to pave the way for Glass to adopt Betsy and further solidify their leverage over him. The deaths of the RICO witnesses, the highly coordinated and efficient manner in which these murders were carried out, involving skilled snipers and detailed inside information, strongly suggests a level of sophistication and resources only accessible to a powerful organization. While both the FBI and CIA deny responsibility, the fact that the murders effectively benefited both their agendas raises suspicions about their potential involvement. The shadowy world of intelligence agencies. The presence of covert CIA operations within the U.S. The revelation of Ricketts's true nature as a CIA-controlled town challenges the assumption that the agency operates solely abroad. This raises concerns about the extent of their domestic activities, the potential for overreach, and the blurring of lines between national security and individual rights. The attempted assassination of Travis Devine, the elaborate hit on Devine on the train in Europe, orchestrated with detailed knowledge of his itinerary and involving a team of skilled assassins, strongly suggests involvement from a powerful entity. The revelation that the CIA may have orchestrated this attempt points to their willingness to sacrifice their own agents for perceived strategic gains, raising ethical questions and highlighting the ruthlessness of their operations. The manipulation and betrayal of Prudence Jackson. Jackson's account of being abandoned by the CIA after uncovering a murder conspiracy within their ranks, coupled with her imprisonment and torture, suggests a pattern of deception and a willingness to discard agents who pose a threat to their interests. This further reinforces the image of the CIA as a secretive and morally ambiguous organization, operating in the shadows and prioritizing their own agenda above the well-being of their agents. Unanswered questions and lingering doubts. The book leaves several unanswered questions about the extent and nature of the government conspiracy, the true extent of 12-24-65's influence and their ultimate objective. While the sources reveal their goal of overthrowing the government, the details of their plan and the full scope of their network of supporters remain unclear. The exact role of the FBI in the manipulation of Betsy Odom. While Devine uncovers evidence of their plan to use Betsy as bait, their ultimate objective and the lengths to which they were willing to go to achieve it remain ambiguous. The potential connection between Ann Cassidy, aka Mercedes King, and the government conspiracy, her past involvement with the CIA, her betrayal of Jackson, and her current role as mayor of a CIA-controlled town all suggest a deeper connection to the larger conspiracy. Her motivations and allegiances remain unclear. The government conspiracy presented in the novel is a tangled web of deceit, manipulation, and questionable actions by those entrusted with upholding the law and protecting the country. It leaves the reader questioning the boundaries of power, the true cost of national security, and the ethical implications of sacrificing individual lives for a perceived greater good.
And there you have it, To Die For by David Baldacci, another exciting installment of the Travis Devine adventure thriller series. Have you read it? If so, drop a comment below and let us know what you thought. And if you haven't, does this one sound like a must-read for you? If you enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more book deep dives, and share this video with your fellow book lovers. Until next time on Deep Dive with Smart Bookworms, keep reading, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next one.